Over the course of film history, if there's one thing that still remains an easy bet, it's the biopic genre. Mostly because it has bits of everything: great performances, simple rise and fall format, true story, risk free mainstream commercial cinema. Which producer or studio wouldn't want that? With the changing times, 2009's The Social Network gave rise to a subgenre of tech CEO founder Silicon Valley biopics in fiction and non-fiction. Although looking at everything that Zuckerberg's been in the news for since the movie's release, one feels a need for a sequel. And of course, you'd watch it if you knew Fincher was returning to direct. Hollywood knows it's that easy to get us fans tempted. Apparently, that's the business. But let's be honest. The people who claim to fulfill the audience demands are in reality just playing safe.
Mr. Play It Safe! Classic.
Why would you say 3 shows on 3 unicorn CEOs in fiction getting greenlit when their non-fiction counterparts already exist? And not all were good kinds of green lights that Matthew McConaughey was talking about in his book, Green Lights.
All right.
In the abundance of biopics, we finally started to ask the question, did we really want to listen to a podcast on the ex-CEO and founders of WeWork, then watch a documentary on them, and then get an Oscar-winning or nominated director telling us the same thing in an average but bingeable limited series? If you're thinking of an answer, it's no. We didn't want them and we definitely don't need them. It's like the Hindi remakes of proven content in the South that nobody asks for, but they still keep making them. But every now and then, something different and original comes from a non-English or non-Hindi mainstream maker, and this one in particular redefines what a biopic template in this tech CEO subgenre can be.
Do you believe the size of your business model creates a problem for artists?
The Playlist is a 6-episode Swedish Netflix original based on a Swedish music streaming app that all of us rely on for our music. No prizes for guessing, it's Spotify. Doesn't it feel strange when you realize that the best and largest music streaming app was not created by an American Silicon Valley tech giant? It's an extremely rare phenomenon, feels like a glitch in the matrix, which makes the story of Spotify's origins even more intriguing, especially when you understand that the founders of the app were way ahead of its time. The late 2000s were like the golden age for piracy in movies and music, which sparked the idea in the Spotify founder's head to revolutionize the music industry. Naturally, he was met with skepticism. It's like the moment in Mani Ratnam's Guru when everyone underestimates Abhishek Bachchan at the start.
खुद के लिए कभी कुछ नहीं कर सकते तुम. लिख लो.
This is biopic gold, and the playlist makes good use of these essential high points in the creation of Spotify while making odd choices to tell the story. The playlist seamlessly switches between facts and fiction and keeps the audience constantly guessing which is which, even breaking the fourth wall, which is now overused ever since Fleabag's success, but is executed here in a very limited but impactful way. It mainly serves as a transition in the narrative to the next chapter. Structure-wise, it's similar to Damien Chazelle's The Eddy, as described in one of the previous videos, where each character is a protagonist of their own episode, which we don't see often in a true story or a biopic genre. That instantly becomes one of the show's biggest strengths. Instead of making Zuckerberg or Adam Newman or Elizabeth Holmes the protagonist, the playlist puts the company at the center, not the creator. By making Spotify the protagonist, it makes the idea of a revolutionary app bigger than any of the human beings involved in creating it. But unlike The Eddy, they utilize the surreal side of things in certain episodes. Some of them are even bottled episodes contained with limited characters in one single location. Probably because the show's budget seems very minimal compared to other, more popular Netflix English originals. But what they lack there, they more than make up for in a completely unpredictable show, even if you know each and everything there's to know about Spotify, or even if you've read the book it draws from. Compared to We Crashed and The Dropout, which were more popular only because they were about American companies and were American English shows featuring popular actors on a global level, the treatment and the story itself makes the playlist a Golden Globe or Emmy-worthy show. Obviously, that's not the case, which is why the playlist comes under the snubbed category, but it's definitely more inventive and gripping than the 2 American counterparts. The playlist is based on Spotify Untold, an account of untold stories about the app, but since there was no documentary that already existed, the show works even more because it feels like you're watching a part docu-series and part drama with great performances. You don't need to watch a whole other documentary to understand anything better. This is a perfect amalgamation of facts and fiction, which is what makes it so fresh and unique.
All right.
To sum up, watch the playlist because it's an engaging, fast-paced true story that seamlessly switches between facts and fiction and yet remains authentic to the real-life personalities it draws from. To add to that, the makers use tools of surrealism and theatre, breaking the fourth wall. This organically gives the narrative a fresh and original voice, which is something that makes the show stand out from the crowd, just like the app it's based on. The founder of Spotify, Daniel Ek's idea to create Spotify was to end music piracy by giving everyone free music, and Spotify did succeed in doing that, to an extent. People can actually listen to free music, but the paid members get more perks like creating your own playlist. Since a few years now, every year, paid members of Spotify celebrate and share their Spotify Wrapped with each other. Once again, this feature every year makes Spotify one step ahead of its giant American peers like Apple, Prime, and YouTube Music. Perhaps it's because the founder was truly ahead of his time. But with 2022 wrapped up, one hopes that going forward, the people behind the app also consider a higher remuneration for the artists, who only get paid a meager $0.03 per stream. The founder now is a billionaire, no surprises, with several people who invested and joined the company earlier on. But the bigger achievement for the platform would be to empower and make artists earn their fair share too, something that OTT platforms have cracked for filmmakers across the globe. Without giving any spoilers, the finale of the show in particular addresses this effectively. Music is and should be for all, but artists behind the music should also be able to make a living. Here's hoping that in the future, the paid model works not just for the fans, but for artists that we are fans of too.